like to stand up for ourselves. We like to be boisterous and loud. I ask for respect. Earlier we had the governor speak. And just a little bit ago, we had a fantastic speech from Senator Klobuchar. Booing is booing, but at the end of the day, we're all together. And let's be respectful. We all know that when we're at the end of this, we're all going to be together. And we need to all be united to kick Donald Trump's ass. Let's get it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Now we truly are into the business of the convention, and I would call upon the chairs of the Credentials Committee to present their report. I see Scott Graham, one of the co-chairs of the Credentials Committee, approaching the microphone. Yes. No. And you have to identify yourself and your organizing unit, please, once the microphone is turned on.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes.
My name is Linda Stanch. I'm from CD3. You mentioned before, and I wanted to pick up on it before we got further, that you have to write your own name on the ballot.
Of course.
Okay. There was a slight difference. Is it supposed to be on the back of the ballot or the front of the ballot? Both on the front?
No. You have to sign the ballot. Sign on the back. If you're an upgraded alternate, you sign your own name. If you're a delegate, you obviously sign your own name.
Okay.
Thank you. Scott.
Okay, how's that sound, everybody? Okay, how's that? Better? Super. Hi, I'm Scott Graham. I'm co-chair along with Cheryl Poling of the Credentials Committee to this 2016 DFL State Convention. We have been presented a credentials challenge. This is a assertion by a delegate that something has been done improperly, and I'd like to read from it now summarized. This was submitted by Ben Sunderland, a delegate to this convention from SD 50. Quoting, Christopher Seymore has filed with the Minnesota Secretary of State candidacy for the Minnesota House seat 50B as a DFL candidate. Mr. Seymore asserts that he has the right to run against a duly endorsed DFL candidate. Mr. Seymore self-nominated himself at the SD50 convention April 2nd, 2016, and was not endorsed. The candidate receiving the endorsement received greater than 60% of the vote. Mr. Seymore asserts his right to be seated as an alternate delegate at this state convention despite clear violation of Article 3, Section 4, Subsection H, and Section 7, Section A, second unnumbered bylaw of our party documentation. The ramifications of such action have been explained to Mr. Seymore by the SD50 chair, other SD50 Central Committee members, members of the State Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and myself on behalf of the Credentials Committee of this convention. Mr. Seymore was sent notification of this violation by email by SD50, May 30th, 2016, and by myself, June 1st. Neither of those bodies received a response from Mr. Seymore. Having conferred with the Credentials Committee, it is our recommendation that Mr. Seymore be relieved of his alternate delegate status and not be seated at this convention. Thank you. Yes.
You've heard the report of the Credentials Committee. We have yet to have permanent rules in place, but our temporary rules, Rule 13, deals with credential challenges and provides that The challenger, that's not the co-chair, but the challenger will have 5 minutes to present the position of the challenge to the body, and then the person who is challenged, Mr. Seymore in this instance, will have 5 minutes to respond. At that point in time, we will open debate, we will debate the matter, and we will vote whether to accept the report of the Credentials Committee. So I'm looking for the challenger. This is microphone number 2 over here. Please proceed, and you're on the clock.
Hi there. My name is Ben Sunderland. I'm the Outreach and Inclusion Officer for SD50, and I bring the challenge before you for your consideration. I personally, Mr. Seymore is new to our SD. He is relatively new to the way that our SD works, and he's also new to seeking elective office. And so when he came to us, he came relatively fresh-faced, and even at the SD, when he was seeking the nomination, he came in basically raw and just ran on that day, and he was amazingly successful in that. He is passionate, he is articulate, he has strong views that really deserve a place within the DFL party. At issue here, though, is his delegate status. A person can be challenged if their election was not done properly. Every indication is that his election was done properly. They can be challenged if they committed a crime or if they're not eligible for office. Every indication is that he is perfectly eligible for office. But what's under consideration is whether or not he is following the DFL Constitution. And within the DFL Constitution, there is a rule that says that you cannot run against an endorsed candidate, otherwise that's considered malfeasance. I believe he is malfeasant, and we will consider that at one of our upcoming Senate District meetings. He has not actually been found by our Senate District yet to be malfeasant. Also for your consideration is that he has been counseled by our chair, by myself, and by our vice chair that if he ran against an endorsed candidate, he would have repercussions within the party, and that he would probably be stripped of his current role as precinct chair within our SD. For your consideration, I don't know that he should be stripped of his delegate status. I'm just putting it before you for a vote. I believe that he should have a place here to be able to help form the rules and help be able to move the rules in the direction that he would seek, which maybe would be for a more welcoming party that's really open to people of all colors, of all stripes and backgrounds. So it's before you. It's up for you to decide whether or not him running against an endorsed candidate should force him to have his delegate status removed. I put it before you.
Thank you. Is the challenger present to speak? Yes. Microphone 2, please. And identify yourself, please.
My name is Christopher Seymore. I am the challenger. I would request that I come up stage so people could see me.
No, we're speaking from the floor mics. Proceed, sir. You can come up here if you want to. That way everybody can see you. And your time will begin now, sir.
Hello, everyone. I am going to take this full 5 minutes. My name is Christopher Seymore. I am in SD50 CD3. I'm going to tell you my story during this 5 minutes. Okay. I'm going to tell you my story during this 5 minutes. I started out in Eden Prairie SD49 in 2008. I was brought in by Tom Daschle and John Locke. I found a Facebook posting that said, "Come on down, we're having a Democratic meeting." I went in and I never left the Democratic Party after that. I became a precinct chair and what was then, I believe, 49 Eden Prairie. I did move to Bloomington and was still in 49. I've been a precinct chair there. I've been a committee member. I have been a delegate before. I have made it all the way up to state delegate level before. I have been an alternate on the national delegacy. I know I pronounced that wrong, but I've been a national delegate alternate for 2012. When Reconstruction went on as far as the districts were, I also stayed that year. And I've worked in the party for the last 8 years up until this point. I am a current Precinct 13 chair. I am a current SD Central Committee member. I am a current SD director. Well, I'm also on the Outreach and Inclusion Affirmative Action and Constitutional in SD 50 board. I'm also a CD3 director. This is the work I have done since day one of entering into the DFL party wholeheartedly as a citizen of the United States. I'm here today to contest all the information that they gave you. So for all of you newcomers, this is how we do it. When you went to caucus and you handed in your sheets of paper and you put your name on it and it got counted, that is true democracy. That's how things get done. That's why I'm here today to show you that things can get done if you stick with the fight and do not give up and be swayed by opposition. Someone has to speak on what's right. So for all the new people that they told you today that the Constitution says that you cannot run, ask them to read that to you. They cannot. The Constitution does not say you cannot run against an endorsed candidate. What it does say, what they're saying I'm malfeasant on, is if you are an office holder, if any of you, which you are office holders, you cannot support me as a candidate running against an endorsed candidate, either financially, morally. You can't telephone call for me, door knock, or any of those things, because you will be going against the rules of endorsement. There's nowhere in the Constitution that I have read and I have challenged, and another thing that I would say was not true today, maybe was for that point, is that Chris Seymore did not respond. I've responded many a times through email. I would like to take this time to thank Ken Martin, Chris Thorpe, and a few others in those emails. They have been tremendous to me. I've always looked up to them since day one. Thank you for having open communication with me. So, in short, I can run against an endorsed candidate and keep my office. I'm a Bernie Sanders delegate. Bernie people, where are you at? This is what Bernie Sanders is fighting for. True inclusion. The affirmative action policy has been read today. People have stepped on this stage today with affirmative action issues. Ken Martin, the governor, Amy, everyone has said we need to bring more people of color in and give them something to do today. Affirmative action stands today if you vote for me and not for what the rules do not say. I have wanted to be on the National Democratic Committee and have been denied. I've wanted to be on the state committee and have been denied. I can be put back in this today with...
Thank you very much. We are now open for a debate on this matter. Delegate at microphone 4.
David Weinleg, Senate District 53, Constitution Committee. Given that the challenger has said that he thinks he should be seated and the challenger thinks he wants to be seated, I call the question.
It's been moved and seconded that we call the question. Is there? Yes, sir.
Procedure. Larry Etkin, Senate 62. I object to the call. My understanding, a move of the question goes to a vote. A call of the question can be interrupted by any speaker who wishes to. There is a distinction between them according to Robert's Rules newly revised. I object to the call and would like to speak in favor of Mr. Seymore.
Your objection is well taken. Please proceed.
I do not know Mr. Seymore. I've met him know of before now. However, I, on a moral principle alone, see no reason why anybody who to run for office should be denied the ability to sit as a delegate at this convention where we are considering far more than just that particular office. Mr. Seymore has been involved in our party apparently for an extended period of time, very effectively, and I would be very, very reluctant to see him discouraged from continuing that involvement.
Thank you. Delegate microphone 2.
Rick Stafford, Democratic National Committee. I support the Credentials Committee report. Contrary to what Mr. Seymore says, our Constitution is very clear about supporting endorsed candidates, running against endorsed candidates. We have rules in this process. We have rules that govern us, and we should abide by those rules. Whether we like them or not, they are the rules. Mr. Seymore is running against an endorsed candidate. Does not qualify to be a delegate based on that. Thank you.
Delegate microphone 3.
Point of information, could the rules in question be clarified?
Thank you. I will call upon the chair of the Credentials Committee to do so.
Okay, thank you for your patience. I will be reading to you from the DFL Constitution and Bylaws as amended through August 2015. This is Section 7, subsection A, an unnumbered bylaw, reading, personal endorsement, financial assistance, or other support or assistance by a party officer or official to a candidate running in opposition to a DFL endorsed candidate shall constitute malfeasance and shall be cause for removal from office. The office in question today is a alternate delegate position at this convention.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Is there any further discussion? Yes, delegate microphone 3.
Was that me? Thank you. My name is William Corey Labovich from SD 54. I would like to speak in favor of the credentials report. Mr. Andrew Carlson worked hard in his campaign last February to keep the seat that belonged to Ann Linchesky. This man essentially lost in part of a smear campaign by his competitor who won the seat. This competitor, by the way, is the brother-in-law of ultra-conservative State Senator Dan Hall. With that said, Mr. Carlson deserves the utmost support in his election bid. Mr. Seymore is essentially running as an unendorsed candidate against the wishes of his Senate district. And I say this as someone who took an outreach director position in 2010 after we found out the outreach director was also supporting an unendorsed candidate. I believe that this is essentially disrespectful to Mr. Andrew Carlson and his campaign. With that said, I hope people understand that while Mr. Seymore has the right to run against him in a primary, this is essentially not good for how it works to people who put in the time and the effort like Mr. Andrew Carlson has and will when he defeats his opponent in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate at microphone 4.
Point of order. The rules for credentials, challenges, speech, and debate say there should be 5 minutes maximum for the challenger and 5 minutes for the challenged, and that's it, as opposed to this ongoing thing. So again, I ask a ruling of the chair that we've used our time.
We conferred before this process started with the parliamentarians, and they agree that there is a 3-person pro-con after the presentation, and we are proceeding on that basis. Is there any other delegate that wishes to speak on this matter? Are you ready for the question? Yes, sir.
I'm speaking in opposition. My name is Ellis Olkan. I've been active in the DFL for 50 plus years. My very first convention was 1966 when we had the Keith Rovag matter. All this man wants to do is to be an alternate. The Constitution here, it should be disregarded simply because we want unity. We want to win in November. We want to defeat Trump. I am a Hillary delegate. Even though this man is a Sanders delegate, I believe he ought to be seated. Finally, I'd like to point out to this body that our very great Governor Mark Dayton is run several times against endorsed candidates, but we still support him.
Thank you. Okay, we're almost wrapped up here. We can take one more pro, one more con. Anybody else care to speak? Yes. Delegate at microphone 2.
Hello, everyone. Andrew Harrett, Senate District 46. Actually, had 2 points of information. The DFL Constitution that was referenced said that was malfeasance was grounds for removal from office. I wanted clarification, is a state convention delegate alternate considered in office by that same document? Second of all, there was a motion on the floor to call the question. It had been seconded. That's non-debatable, and technically that's what we're supposed to be in right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are you ready for the question? All right, let's proceed. All those in favor of upholding the recommendation of the credentials report, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Very clearly, the delegate remains seated. The report failed. I've been advised that the credentials report relative to upgrading of alternates is still in process.
Yeah, we need about 10 more minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Just verify our data.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
All set. So is Congresswoman McCollum prepared to speak? Congresswoman Betty McCollum from St. Paul.
Great job. Well, good morning. Good morning. And can I just say how proud I am to be a member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. And a big, almost early good afternoon to my folks in the 4th Congressional District. Good to see you. So if you would indulge me for a moment, I just want to thank the 4th District again for their strong support, their trust, and their DFL endorsement this year. Thank you very much, 4th District. But we are gathered here today as DFLers, and do we have a big job this year? Yes, we do. And as the other speakers have pointed out, we must stand together